Good evening, everyone. I'm Reverend Kathy. Welcome to Unity North Spiritual Center's World Day of Prayer. This is our annual World Day of Prayer. So this is happening at Unity Village everywhere and throughout the Unity movement. So I welcome you to this special time of healing prayer this evening. And we're going to begin with a song from Candy. She's going to sing a cappella for us. And that song is In the Silence. So just take that in.
Thank you, Kathy. In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved with gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there, peace is there, truth is there, God is there.
Thank you, Candy. It was beautiful. So we'll begin with our daily word as our opening prayer. And the word for today, September 11th, is World Day of Prayer. In the stillness of prayer, I know peace. When the world feels chaotic and I long to return to the peace of God, I know it is time to pray. It is a balm for my soul to leave busyness and obligations behind and relax into the tranquility of prayer. As I pray, my worldly concerns begin to fall away, along with the temptation to puzzle over problems, ruminate over regret, or worry over the future. As I spend time in the silence, my thoughts dissolve and my heart opens. In this place of perfect stillness, there is only God. I touch the peace and perfection of spirit and prayer and carry that mindful connection with me. And I take a moment just in this place of perfect stillness in the silence. And after our time together this evening, I return to my activities. The world may not have changed, but I have. I go forward to meet life with poise, equilibrium, and calm confidence. From Scripture, Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. And so it is. Well, 32 years ago, Unity created World Day of Prayer, held the second Thursday in September, as a global effort to uplift ourselves, our loved ones, and our world in a shared prayer consciousness. Since that time, millions of people have received prayer support through this sacred initiative. World Day of Prayer is an annual celebration to affirm greater light, love, peace, and abundance on an individual and global level. The theme this year is Be Still and Know. And our affirmation is, in the stillness, I awaken to divine wisdom. So let us speak the affirmation together, even though we're muted. Let's stay muted. I'll say it again first. In the stillness, I awaken to divine wisdom. Together, in the stillness, I awaken to divine wisdom. So once a year, the Unity movement comes together in consciousness on this special World Day of Prayer to join our hearts and minds in a spirit of healing, love, and oneness. And Unity World Headquarters has been in prayer vigil since last night, and on this day, with so many joined together around the globe, it cannot help but increase the light and love and peace on the planet in this ministry, Unity North, and in each of our lives. So I'm joined tonight by our prayer chaplains, Wendy Erickson, Nancy Helvig, Rebecca Thompson, and John Lippert, longtime members at Unity North. Rebecca is our one long-distance prayer chaplain from Southern California. I was going to say Redondo Beach, but she actually just moved from Redondo Beach to Lomita, which is about a 10-minute drive. She actually lives very close walking distance from where I used to live. So we were bemoaning the fact we could have walked together if it had been 5.5 years ago. But it's so wonderful not to be bound by church walls any longer, but to have this opportunity to reach beyond and make these connections virtually. In addition to our prayer chaplains tonight, we invited Candy to join us in sharing a reading, and we got also a special song. So as you know, Candy's one of our regular remote attendees all the way from Michigan. And for the rest of you here with us tonight, we are grateful for your presence. So I'll talk for a few more moments about silent unity. But first, here's what you can expect for this time, for the time this evening. So after this introduction is through to World Day of Prayer and Silent Unity, there will be 3 short readings, followed by some music, and then a meditation. And that will be followed by 3 more readings, then a time of sharing and a closing affirmation. So Unity began through the healing of Myrtle Fillmore. And I think we all know her story, but it bears repeating, especially on a special day like this. She was 42, and she was told she had several months to live given her diagnosis of terminal tuberculosis. And having inherited her illness, she found it a complete revelation when she heard a lecturer, E.B. Weeks, say, "You are a child of God, and therefore you do not inherit sickness." She took that affirmation home, and she spoke it daily along with words of strength and life to her body, and within 2 years, she was fully healed. Then her husband, Charles, followed suit. And more scientific-minded, he saw Myrtle's healing and her success in praying with others, and he began to pray and meditate and speak words of truth and power as well. And he also was healed from an old skating injury that had dislocated his hip and caused one leg to become shrunken and withered and shorter than the other. He was able to discard the steel brace that he had walked with for many years. Now, they did not set out to start churches. They began a magazine to spread the word and to pray with others, and that prayer evolved into what was called the Society of Silent Help. In 1891, when the Fillmores changed the name of their magazine to Unity, the Society of Silent Help became the Society of Silent Unity and has been known ever since as Silent Unity, the prayer ministry of the Unity movement. So as the telephone became more commonplace in those days, an increasing number of persons called in their prayer requests. Prior to World War I, the telephone prayer service became round the clock, 24 hours a day. Today, that continues to take place at Silent Unity's location at Unity Village, 25 miles southeast of Kansas City, Missouri. It is a major prayer center of the world, and there is a light that shines in the Tower of Silent Unity called the Light That Shines for You. And it has been shining for 135 years uninterrupted. Even when they moved to a new building, there was a special ceremony in which they passed the light from one building to the other. That light serves as a beacon to let you know there is always someone in prayer. If you have never called Silent Unity, I recommend that you do. Their number is 816-969-2000, but you can always find it on any copy of the Daily Word magazine. There are many examples and testimonials of prayer results through Silent Unity. For 135 years, Silent Unity has been the heart of healing within the Unity movement because it is the heart of prayer. And prayer has the power to change everything for the better. And now Rebecca will share with us the first reading.
Thank you, Reverend Kathy. So when Reverend Kathy and the prayer chaplains begin planning the World Day of Prayer service, first thing we do is we find out the theme, and then we all look through our books and our other resources to find readings that are in alignment with that theme. So this year, looking for my reading for World Day of Prayer, I typed the theme into my friend Google. So I typed in "be still and know," and up popped something that said AI overview. I was like, whoa, what's that? So I guess we all know that AI stands for artificial intelligence. And I kind of laughed a little nervously when I saw that pop up because I'm still a little bit uncomfortable with AI and all its implications. But nevertheless, I was curious to see what AI would have to say about this theme. So I read it and I was pleasantly surprised. Let's see what you think. So I'm going to read you the AI overview of "Be Still and Know." "Be still and know that I am God" is a biblical command from Psalm 46:10 that encourages believers to cease striving and actively acknowledge God's supreme power and presence in all circumstances. This stillness is not passive inactivity, but a conscious choice to trust and rest in God, even amidst chaos, to understand His sovereignty, His love for us, and His ultimate control over all creation. The context of the verse: the first half of Psalm 46 describes God as a refuge and strength in the face of natural disasters and worldly turmoil. Seems familiar. It then describes God's power over nations, which may rage and fall but are silenced by His voice. Verse 10, "Be still and know that I am God," is a divine command from the King of Kings to the nations, proclaiming His victory over them. For God's people, it is also a promise and a reminder to rely on Him and His power, especially in times of trouble. Understanding the verse. The first part, "be still," comes from the word rapha in Hebrew. This word has several interpretations. The first is to let go or release, an invitation to surrender the need for control and depend wholly on God. It also means to cease striving or stop fighting. It is a call to lay down weapons in the middle of a conflict and let God work. This interpretation addresses the human instinct to solve every problem through effort. Finally, it means to relax, rest, or to stop working so hard. This is an invitation to find deep, restful peace in God's presence. The second part of the verse, "and know that I am God," is an emphasis on truly knowing and acknowledging God's nature and power. It's a call to recognize His ultimate authority and His role as the master of the universe. Practical applications. 1. Create moments of quiet. In a noisy world, intentionally set aside time to be quiet and calm your mind. Some ways to do this are meditation, reflection, journaling, or prayer. 2. Stop focusing on worldly concerns. Be still and quiet the mental noise from work, technology, and social media to connect with God. 3. Trust in God's control. When facing fear or uncertainty, consciously choose to trust in God's promises and his ultimate authority over all situations. The phrase invites a deeper trust in God's ability to work on our behalf, even when circumstances seem impossible. Reflect on your past experiences with God's actions that demonstrate his love and faithfulness towards us. And 4, cultivate an eternal perspective. Remind yourself that God's plans are great and extend beyond current troubles. Wait patiently for his work to unfold, even amidst chaos. So in summary, in essence, the verse calls for a surrender of self in order to experience and know God's power and presence, even in the midst of life's difficulties and chaos. In challenging times, it is a reminder to rely on God's power as the ultimate source of strength and peace. Not bad, AI. I might have changed some of the pronouns, but in general, I thought it was a lovely reflection on Psalm 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. And now Candy will share the next reading.
Thank you, Rebecca. I too did a Google search and found AI information, but my research took me in a different direction. For some reason, I need to understand the how and why of everything. Now, Rebecca pretty much covered hows and whys, but I found non-traditional information. So here's what AI told me. You need to be still to calm your body and mind, which reduces stress, improves clarity, and fosters creativity by allowing your nervous system to rebalance and your brain to recalibrate. Being still also promotes a deeper connection to yourself, others, and your spiritual beliefs by creating space for reflection, prayer, and a clearer reception of inner wisdom or divine guidance. Jules Wolfe, I follow him, he's an empath. Well, when he's speaking on empaths, quoted Carl Jung as saying, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart." I don't know if you're aware, but Mayim Bialik of the Big Bang Theory fame has a PhD in neuroscience. She claims science says sitting in silence, quietly with no distractions, is a muscle that needs to be exercised and learned. So, with so much chaos in the world today, how can we just sit and be still? How can we know God or receive messages to help guide our path when there's so much noise to distract us from our peace? Louise Hay has an affirmation she taught people to use when they were facing difficulties. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this experience, only good will come, and I am safe. Mayim Bialik says on how to do this, that science says to work up to 20 minutes of sitting quietly to train this muscle that she talks about. Dr. Alan Mandel is a chiropractor who gives health tips on YouTube that I also follow, teaches this one simple exercise that he claims will calm your mind right away. Remember how we used to pray as children? If you press your hands together, matching up the pads on each hand, and press hard, I can feel my breath already calming down, starting to breathe more deeply, slowing down. Also, a quick Japanese method to quiet your mind is to put your finger right in the middle of the palm of your hand and hold it there for 1 minute. And I could feel that something happening in my brain on that also. AI again explains a premise by Carl Jung, which again explains why we need to be still. It states, when people focus primarily on the external world and its distractions, they remain in a state of confusion or dreaming. And so I leave you with this quote from Carl Jung to ponder. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Thank you. And now I lost my notes, I'm sorry. Okay, now I'm going to introduce Nancy has a reading for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Candy. I chose my readings from the mornings with Myrtle, and I combined two of the readings. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still. God in the midst of you is substance. God in the midst of you is love. God in the midst of you is wisdom. Let not your thoughts be given to lack, but let wisdom fill them with substance and faith of God. That was from Myrtle. And a prayer of silence by Reverend Rick Schumacher. In quietness and confidence is my strength. As I settle into my morning prayers, I still any anxious thoughts or uneasy feelings with the words, peace, be still. With each breath I whisper, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Stillness cloaks my mind and heart. My body relaxes, and any stress or tension melts away. I rest lovingly in the divine presence. In quietness and confidence, I enter the silence. In the sheer silence, I know the truth. Wisdom speaks to me as a perfect knowing. I know what to do to let the divine do its work through me and through all those for whom I pray this blessed morning. With the realization that innate wisdom is now expressed through me, I move through my day with confidence, strength, and knowledge to meet every need. For peace, confidence, strength, wisdom, and knowledge, I give heartfelt thanks. Next, we will have a song sung by Geraldine. She's a friend of mine and a musician who has historically played with us. She combined two songs, Arms of Love and Be Still and Know That I Am God. After this will prepare us for meditation. After the song is complete, Wendy will guide us through a meditation.
just be.
Take a long and full breath as we prepare for meditation. And listen to the words of James Dillett Freeman. I am there. Do you need me? I am there. You cannot see me, yet I am the light you see by. You cannot hear me, yet I speak through your voice. You cannot feel me, yet I am the power at work in your hands. I'm at work, though you do not understand my ways. I am at work, though you do not recognize my works. I am not strange visions. I am not mysteries. Only in absolute stillness beyond self can you know me as I am, and then, but as a feeling and a faith. Yet I am there, yet I hear, yet I answer. When you need me, I am there. Even if you deny me, I am there. Even when you feel most alone, I am there. Even in your fears, I am there. Even in your pain, I am there. I am there when you pray and when you do not pray. I am in you, and you are in me. Only in your mind can you feel separate from me, for only in your mind are there mists of yours and mine. Yet only with your mind can you know me and experience me. Empty your hearts of empty fears. When you get yourself out of the way, I am there. You can of yourself do nothing, but I can do all. And I am in all. Though you may not see the good, good is there, for I am there. I am there because I have to be, because I am. Only in me does the world have meaning. Only out of me does the world take form. Only because of me does the world go forward. I am the law on which the movement of the stars and the growth of living cells are founded. I am the love that is the law's fulfilling. I am assurance. I am peace. I am oneness. I am the law that you can live by. I am the love that you can cling to. I am your assurance. I am your peace. I am one with you. I am. Though you fail to find me, I do not fail you. Though your faith in me is unsure, my faith in you never wavers, because I know you, because I love you. Beloved, I am there. And now John will give us our next reading.
Thank you, Wendy. I'll be reading from Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Be still and know, by Eckhart Tolle. I have little use for the past and rarely think about it. However, I would like to share this with you. Until my 30th year, I lived in a state of almost continuous anxiety. One night, not long after my 29th birthday, I woke up in the early hours with a feeling of absolute dread. I had woken up with such a feeling many times before, but this time was more intense than it ever had been. I cannot live with myself any longer. This was the thought that kept repeating itself in my mind. Then suddenly I became aware of what a peculiar thought it was. Am I one or two? If I cannot live with myself, there must be two of me. The I and the self that I cannot live with. Maybe, I thought, only one of them is real. I was so stunned by this strange realization that my mind stopped. I was fully conscious, but there were no more thoughts. Then I felt drawn into what seemed like a vortex of energy. It was a slow movement at first, and then accelerated. I was gripped by an intense fear, and my body started to shake. I heard the words, "Resist nothing," as if spoken inside my chest. I could feel myself being sucked into a void. I felt as if the void was inside myself rather than outside. Suddenly, there was no more fear. I let myself fall into the void. I was awakened by the chirping of a bird outside the window. I had never heard such a sound before. My eyes were still closed, and I saw the image of a precious diamond. Yes, if a diamond could make a sound, this is what it would be like. I opened my eyes. The first light of dawn was filtering through the curtains. Without any thought, I knew that there's infinitely more to light than we realize, that the soft luminosity filtering through the curtains was love itself. Tears came to my eyes. I got up and walked around the room. I recognized the room, and yet I knew I'd never truly seen it before, as if I had just come into existence. That day I walked around the city in utter amazement at the miracle of life on earth, as if I had just been born into this world. For the next 5 months, I lived in a state of uninterrupted, deep peace and bliss. After that, it diminished somewhat in intensity, or perhaps it just seemed to be because it became my natural state. I could still function in the world, although I realized that nothing I ever did could possibly add anything to what I already had. I knew, of course, that something profoundly significant had happened to me, but I didn't understand it at all. It wasn't until later, after I had read some spiritual text and spent some time with spiritual teachers, that I realized what everybody was looking for had already happened to me. I understood that the intense pressure of suffering that night must have forced my consciousness to withdraw from its identification with the unhappy self, which is ultimately a fiction of the mind. This withdrawal must have been so complete that this false, suffering self immediately collapsed, just as if a plug had been pulled out of an inflatable toy. What was left then was my true nature as the ever-present I am consciousness in its pure state prior to identification with form. Later, I also learned to go into that inner timeless realm that I originally perceived as a void and remain fully conscious. I dwelt in states of such indescribable bliss and sacredness. More fundamentally, perhaps, than any experience is an undercurrent of peace that has never left me since then. People will ask, "I want what you have. Show me how to get it." And I say, "You already have it. You just can't feel it because your mind is making too much noise." Be still, be peace, and know it is who we truly are. Now some words from Kathy.
Thank you, John. Myrtle Fillmore said of God's qualities, "Instead of thinking of the people whom you have believed to be evil and an undesirable influence, think of the goodness of God in the life of all his children. Think of God as everywhere present, light, love, peace, power, and life. Think of all men, all women, all children as abiding in God's presence and expressing God's qualities. As you do this, you will touch the reality of individuals and you will invite only the best from them." Our affirmation today on World Day of Prayer is, "In the stillness, I awaken to divine wisdom." So I am grateful for the innate wisdom that guides my every step. When I find myself distressed by the actions of others that I find perplexing or even reprehensible, I turn within before forming a response. Inner wisdom reminds me that I see the best in others to the degree that I call it forth in myself. In that moment, I choose to see or seek the presence of Christ within myself and all humanity. Aligning with Source, I affirm the oneness of all creation as often as is necessary. In doing so, I radiate love, peace, and harmony into the world around me. Once again, I am grateful for the innate wisdom that guides my every step. And now Wendy will do a final reading.
Stillness is the word that best captures the essence of what it feels like to be aware and present in the body. The sensation is of being in a timeless space where everything is simultaneously quiet and expanded. Stillness enables access to a deep state of peace. From that place, a person can more easily discern what is real, lasting, and truthful. Think of how a wheel works. What is noticed does not have the same impact it does when viewed from the edge of the wheel. At the center of the wheel, the spinning is replaced by stillness. As a result, what is observed is not limiting, distracting, or disabling when we are at the center of the wheel. This state has been called being one with all that is, finding center, merging with the infinite, and coming home. As such, I like to call the stillness the heart of reclaiming choice. It is a natural state of being available to us anytime and anywhere. Now, it may take some time to find and develop a sense of stillness. Don't let that discourage you from doing so. Being in stillness is as natural as talking. However, if the voice is not used for a while, it becomes weak and rough sounding. With focus and practice, stillness can become a nurturing home within. Cultivating stillness on a regular basis actually rewires the brain to function more efficiently. Part of this happens as stillness allows the intuition or inner wisdom to have breathing space, to have breathing room. And with more space, wisdom moves back into balance with the mind, effectively providing us with conscious access to all that we are. This is one reason why those who cultivate stillness feel more confident and peaceful. They literally reconnect to their innate value and personal power. I have found prayer to be an indispensable tool for healing and creating, connecting to that which makes life move beyond the extraordinary, or the ordinary to the extraordinary. For this reason, I include it as one of the ways to cultivate stillness, along with meditation, with just breathing. Prayer is the experience of communing or having a conversation with God. Within this experience, praying intentionally opens a channel of communication in an attitude of humility and gratitude. The connection is made with a clear understanding God will be present and will hear the prayer. The prayer is offered up with the faith that what is asked for will be granted because it is experienced in a feeling state where that desired already exists. So the practice of prayer is an act of faith in two ways. First, it takes faith to trust what is needed or desired will be granted. And second, it takes faith to trust that it will arrive in the most perfect form and timing. The second of these two aspects of faith is often the most challenging. By adopting an attitude of humility and gratitude in prayer, we demonstrate our respect and appreciation for all that is provided to us. We are clear and confident our request will be provided. If the request is held in faith, what is desired will be granted. However, it will show up in a form and timing that is perfect according to God's knowledge of our situation. Our job is to have faith and trust our prayer will be answered. The more I have cultivated stillness, the more my life works. Problems or worries which used to drive me crazy unwind or sort themselves out with the minimum of fuss. Stillness is an essential resource and practice for living a successful, conscious life. I leave you with this short little poem. Stillness. Their quiet embrace frightened me. What value could come from such an inky, formless void? I could feel so much there moving in the shadows. I would have put out my hand, but did not know what I would find. After a while, I realized what moved there was the stuff of dreams. Unformed rainbows awaiting my vision to give them shape, molded in faith and humility, sealed with the kiss of gratitude. Doorways to life's mysteries and abundance, showering me with all I need and desire in perfect timing and form. And this is from one of our former prayer chaplains, Gretchen Haston, who passed away this July. So, from her book. And now, Rebecca will lead us in sharing.
Thank you, Wendy. So, yes, now we'd like to open it up and invite all of you to share your experiences with this theme of being still. Perhaps you have a practice that you incorporate into your life that helps you be still, or perhaps you've received some divine wisdom as a result of being still. So, who would like to share first? Who has something you'd like to share? Feel free to just unmute and go ahead. Wendy?
I'm already unmuted, so I'm just going to go. One of the things that I have very recently had to come to grips with in dealing with some emotional things that had happened that were affecting me very emotionally was that I had to let go of why. That is a tough one, but it has brought me some peace. Just literally, I don't need to know why. It's none of my business. It's right up there sometimes where we have how will this get done? Sometimes how is not our business. We've turned it over to God, so quit taking back the prayer and trying to mess with it. So basically, but letting go of why something occurred, that was a huge piece of surrender, but it brought an enormous amount of peace and stillness that I could sit in. And one of the ways I acquired that is by saying, it is what it is.
Thank you, Wendy. Noel.
Yeah, I can share something. A couple of things, actually. I've been having a lot of feeling of woundedness, old stuff that's part of who I am or whatever the thing is. I think I'm becoming more sensitive. And so I asked Kathy to help me with some prayers, and that certainly helps. And it's immediate effect just to ask for less intensity with these feelings. It's not that I don't want to deny those emotions or because I think they would connect me to my true self and what I can be spiritually. but it's interesting how effective that is. And the prayers like that, but also the prayers of angels. I love how angels are so much fun. So I was trying to convince someone, not not in a real persuasive manner, but I was telling them how angels have been working for me, and they said, "Well, like what?" And so I explained that little things like traffic lights. Sometimes I'll be a little anxious about getting to a place in time, and I'll just put it out there that I'd like to have as many traffic lights open as possible for me. And the person said, "Well, I don't know, somebody else has to stop then if you're going to get it through." And I said, "No, I just don't. Don't do that. Just allow things to happen." And what was the other one I suggested? But anyway, the interesting thing is on my way home, that after this, I was having a massage session with this girl. On the way home, every traffic light opened up for me. I was just because I just had that talk. I think I just thought that was delightful.
Maybe someone else needed to stop and have a pause.
It was just fun, whatever.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who else has something to share? One more?
I can. The music is a huge one for me. Like that song that I had played there. I had right before I was starting when I was diagnosed with my lung disease and I was going to be starting treatment. I had a lot of fearful feelings, and I wanted to have something to kind of balance and calm them. So I actually called Geraldine and asked her if she knew any chants that were around breath and breathing. And she put together so much music for me that I and her voice, I mean, come on, right? Her voice is like, oh, and especially in that first month when I was feeling really, really fearful, I would just put the music on and allow it to kind of wash over me and calm me. And if I needed to cry, I cried. I just let the affirmations, the beauty, the music to kind of just really relax and calm and wash away. So music for me is like really a healing thing that helps to really bring me present moment. It's even the chants that the chant ministry did, that we use for World Day of Prayer and then the healing. Those are really very powerful for me because they just allow my mind to be in this like calm, focused, still place of affirmation. And so that's my go-to.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else?
I can share something. This is Candy. um, I have had so many health challenges in the last 2 or 3 years that just seems like it's nonstop. I can't catch a break. And so I have trouble praying for myself because I just don't have the energy, and my mind is constantly going. So I really enjoyed doing this research for tonight's service because I started in one direction, but I kept getting all this other information and it kept taking me in another direction. And I'm like, well, maybe I need to do these little things, to before I go to sleep to help me relax my mind and that kind of thing. And so I've really enjoyed the entire service and everyone's input, and the music that Nancy brought in that was a meditation in itself, really. So I really got a lot out of tonight's service, not just my research, but everyone's input. So just wanted to thank everybody for that.
Thanks, Candy.
I
Anyone
can
else?
I can share a little bit. I've been in a study this year. I study A Course in Miracles with a group, and in doing that, there's just always a daily meditation. But it just led me into finding more things to be at peace and to um, work my program, let's say, being in this. And one thing I came across was somebody on YouTube that just used this mantra. And, I just pluck one little thing out of what it was. And it was just always release, release, release. Because everything comes in and there's so many distractions. And it's just really hard to kind of quiet that mind. But um, they come and then I just release and then I just release. And I just kind of go deeper and deeper with all of that. Um, Also, bees. Watching bumblebees is a very, very interesting, peaceful thing to do. And I'm looking forward to this certain spot in my garden blooming and sitting down and watching them again. Going out in my garden and doing what I do is a lovely thing. It's not still, but it's stillness and movement. It's kind of a joining experience. So I guess I have working stillness that goes on. But I loved this all this evening. This was really great. Really a good reminder of the fullness that stillness can bring. You think it's nothing, but it's far from nothing. That's
Beautiful.
all.
Thank you, Christine. It's beautiful. Anyone else? All right, then with that, I'll turn it back over to Reverend Kathy to close us for this evening.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you to all of our prayer chaplains tonight and to our guest, Candy. Just give me all a hand. So in the stillness, I awaken to divine wisdom. That's the affirmation for World Day of Prayer. And let's just say that together once again. In the stillness, I awaken to divine wisdom. And we know that wisdom guides our every step. And so I just thank you all for your presence this evening, and know that as you go forward tonight and into tomorrow, that the spirit of wisdom goes before you, making peaceful and still your way. So thank you all. God bless you. Mhm.
Thank you, Kathy, very much. I would really appreciate being a part of a group tonight. So.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. This was great.
Night.
Thank you. Good night.
Great job, everybody, by the way.
Hi, Howard.
As always. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye.